you so much for joining us today.
Very exciting Q&A for you guys today.
You know why you're here.
Please welcome.
Let's go.
The fourth time you fought him and you soccer kicked him in the face, was that not one of the surreal moments of your life?
I'm going to take your hometown boys belt.
Whoever's next, that's who I want to fight.
CM Punk.
Yeah,
That's what he brings to the table.
Of course I think I'll beat him. Why the hell would I take the fight?
We're on the same page. So we're normal. Well, we're the only two out here. I have no idea.
Next question.
I'm trying to keep up with Mr. Buffer.
Good afternoon, Singapore. It's great to be here. It's great to see you all. Thank you for coming out. We've got some great fighters. Please make some noise as we welcome onto the stage Jorge Masvidal, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and Juliana Pena. So we got some mics just here. Please, if you've got any questions, come down and ask us a question. Obviously, we've got some superstars here, so I'm sure you've all got questions for them. But first of all, are you all enjoying yourself? Good. Excited for the fights tomorrow night? Excellent. We got any questions? Anybody coming up?
Guys, I'm at the Q&A.
No? Am I kicking this off then? Okay.
You've got some questions coming
Photo op. Okay. First of all, how are you guys enjoying Singapore?
Love it over here.
Yeah?
It's beautiful, beautiful. Weather's great, man. Weather's great.
Top notch. Top notch.
You've been traveling for some time. You were in Auckland as well, right?
Yes, I was. And I was in Mexico for 9 days before that, so I feel like I've been living in a suitcase for weeks.
Wow, right. Any fights you're looking forward to on the card this weekend? Anything that comes to mind?
Kobe Covington versus Dum Yum Kim.
Okay, you're in his corner, right?
I'm in Kobe's corner. Look out for that fight. That's going to steal the show, I think.
Okay. He's the favorite as well, I noticed on the betting line. So
He's the favorite.
It's a tough fight.
He's unranked and he's the favorite. It's crazy.
Yeah? So you've been working with him through training camp as well?
Plenty. We've been working a lot for this fight.
Nice. Anything specific? Anybody you brought in to help him out for this one?
We brought in a really good judo guy, two-time Olympian guy from Brazil to give him that judo look. And Kobe did great against him, so we're more than prepared for this fight.
Nice. And the new ATT facility is amazing, right?
Saying it's the Walmart of gyms.
The Walmart of gyms, nice. We have a question.
Yeah.
Fire away.
Okay, how's it going, guys?
Doing good, doing
Game
good.
Bread, can I call you Game Bread?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Wonderboy. Okay, so just wondering, has a fight between you two been confirmed yet, or would that be your ideal scenario for next fight?
Not yet, but we want it, man. We want it. We definitely want to get together, get out there in the octagon and face off. I mean, obviously you saw his last fight, which I thought he won against Damian Maia. Very good striker. I think it's going to be fireworks, man. Let's go.
Yeah, from a fan's point of view, I think it would be the ideal matchup. So, yeah, hopefully you can do it.
Thanks,
yeah.
man.
It's going to happen, man. Hopefully, man.
Great.
We'll get it, man. We'll get it.
Woo! Straight into the deep end with that question. Thank you. That'd be a good fight, though, right? Two world-class strikers, different styles as well. Been a fan of both of these guys for a long time. Looking forward to that one. Okay, next question, please.
Love that fight, guys. Hope it happens. But I got a question for all of you. Seeing as it's also mainly your division, out of the Maia and Woodley fight, who are you all choosing to win for that one?
I'm going with Woodley. The power, I think, and his wrestling defense is enough to stop Maia, It's still a very good fight. There's some positions that Woodley can't get in with Maia. He's just so world-class, so out of this world that nobody's is at that level that Maia is in. So as long as Woodley stays out of those positions, I think he wins.
I agree with you, man. I think Tyron Woodley's wrestling is going to prevent Damian Maia from taking him down. I think he's too powerful for Damian Maia. Of course, he's got that mean right hand, but, you're stepping out with one of the best jiu-jitsu guys on the planet, so which makes this fight very exciting. But I think he's going to have a hard time. I think Tyron's going to take it.
And Dan and Juliana?
I love Tyron. I think that he's going to win the fight, but Damian Maia is also one of my all-time favorite fighters. So a lot of respect to Damian, but I think Tyron's got it.
Okay, well, I'll go the other way then. I'll give you an alternative perspective.
Not a clean sweep, hey?
My only thought of Woodley, and you'll know better because you work with him. he tends to fight at his own pace. And if somebody forces him to work, if somebody forces him to defend himself, which Damian Maia will if he gets his hands on him, then he may start to slow down and that will sap his power. So I'm thinking Damian Maia is going to realize that any space he gives Tyron Woodley is dangerous. He's going to crowd him early. He's going to backpack him. He's going to ride him for as long as he can. And then we'll see how Woodley deals with that constant work rate. Because we've seen in Woodley's last fights, he does like to hang back. He likes to wait for those opportunities because he knows he has that one-shot knockout. Whereas obviously Damian Maia, he has to work towards that finish. And I mean, he is suffocating into you when you fight with him.
Oh yeah, and probably the strongest guy I've ever competed against.
Really?
So, you know, that's one thing he might have the advantage in. Might be the strength department.
Okay. Was there anything that surprised you about Maia's game? Anything that you'd not prepared for when you faced him, or was he exactly what you?
His half guard.
Half
that
guard,
I wasn't. The wrestling. Looking back, I could out wrestle him in a lot of the positions, but his half guard is money, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Great question. Next up.
All right, what's up, Wonder Boy, Meg Van?
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, I just wanted to ask, what were some of the difficulties you encountered in your second fight with Tyron?
Well, to be honest with you, I expected Tyron to be a little bit more aggressive, especially after the last fight. He ended up, knocking me down in the 4th round. I thought he was going to come out just a little bit more aggressive, but what surprised me was he didn't. He backed up pretty much the whole time. Knowing from the first fight, he's very explosive, so he covers the gap very quickly. And I knew that, but still, I think it was the 5th round, he ended up, I think, catching me as I was throwing a kick. And he touches you with that right hand, man. You feel it, man. You know, it's one of those one-hitter-quitter type power dudes who just touches you with that right hand, you're going down. And but yeah, that was one of the biggest things. I didn't expect him just to back up the whole time.
Yeah, it looked like in the rematch, like as you were pressing him, you were almost kind of waiting to counter his attack.
Yeah, we're both counter strikers, so I knew he was waiting for me, to blitz in or cover the distance so he can, land that right hand, trying to meet me in the middle type deals, So that's what made the fight, I think, kind of slow because we were both waiting on each other. Yeah. I knew he was waiting on me, and I was trying to draw him out to come, doing a little bit of movement, little feints, trying to hit him with that side kick to try and, frustrate him a little bit, to get him to come at me so I can counter him. And it just wasn't happening, which made it become a slow fight,
Yeah, I was sitting right at the end of my seat. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and I'm right at the end of my seat, and by the time it got to the 4th round, I'm going, come on, somebody move. But because with you being so dangerous, both of you, I get it. You're kind of waiting because you only need that one opportunity to finish the fight. So it was a great fight, a tactical fight.
Thank
you know
you.
what I mean? A real chess match.
And that's something that, after the fight, I kind of beat myself up about, man. You can't sit there and wait. Sometimes you got to grit your teeth and go. And I told myself that after the first fight with him, and I just didn't execute it right the second time. Sometimes you got to grit your teeth and go, and I didn't do it. But that's on me.
Yeah. Good lessons, though, for future fights, right? UFC Gym T-shirt. Excellent.
Yes. Hi, guys. How's it going? Welcome.
Doing good. Thank you.
Just a general question. What is the locker room thoughts of McGregor now fighting Mayweather confirmation?
Yeah.
People looking forward to that one.
And what will be next after McGregor? Will he actually come back to the UFC, or will he go to WWE and have cage matches with John Cena?
You know what? There is some word about, I think Dana White said he's going to fight twice more this year. I don't know if that's that's the boxing or him trying to, I don't know if he's going to, defend the 155 title or not. I don't know what's going on in his head, to be honest with you. But you know what? The guy's got one of the biggest fights ever with Mayweather. So hats off to him, man. But he's definitely a talker.
But how do you guys see it? Isn't it sort of disrespectful for UFC fighters for him to go to boxing and pursue his career there and then talks with WWE and all this kind of mumbo jumbo?
In my opinion, I think it puts mixed martial arts in a position where it's level with boxing. And I think we've been waiting for that for a long time. And just Floyd Mayweather putting his signature on that piece of paper, that contract, to say he will fight, means that he respects McGregor as a combat athlete alongside all the other people that he's fought, all of the other great boxers that he's fought. So I think it's done a great service for mixed martial arts. And I think we have to thank McGregor for it. I mean...
sorry, we all know he's going to get his ass kicked, right?
Quite possibly. But if the
But at the end of the day, you're talking about it. It's in your mouth, and that's the most important thing, you know? It's brought so much attention to boxing and to the UFC, and it's going to be so good for both promotions. Everyone's talking about it. They've been talking about it since it was rumored to happen months and months ago. So everyone wants to see it. It's a fight that the fans want, so it's good for everyone. You're talking about it, so that's the moral of the story. It's coming out of your mouth.
It's definitely where entertainment meets combat, and I don't think it's going to be a fight necessarily, but then again, I don't consider most of Mayweather's matches fights. You know, they're exhibitions. He's an excellent defensive boxer, you know? I mean, he's not taken anybody out in, 6 years? He's got 2 broken hands. He's a 41-year-old man. McGregor's in his prime. Even if he lands a glove on Mayweather, it's a victory for mixed martial arts. And plus, when he walks into the bank and puts that check onto the counter, he can wave everybody goodbye, and the world's his oyster then. So it doesn't matter what he does. He's done a massive service for mixed martial arts, and we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for McGregor.
Cool.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Rico Robles from Manila, Philippines. What's up, Steven?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Manila. All right, since he asked that, I was going to ask that question. Who do you think is going to win between Mayweather and McGregor? Because I have a feeling McGregor's just going to kick him just to knock him out, even if he gets disqualified.
I'm fully 110% behind McGregor. I think he's going to do it.
Well, you know, he definitely has the potential to go out there and, take it to Mayweather. Mayweather is the older guy, but the guy's constantly training. He's still a lifelong martial artist, boxer. Obviously, he's still training till today, and he's faced some of the best boxers in the world, so you can't take that away from him. And it's his sport. You know, this was something he's been doing since he's 3 years old, you know. Conor McGregor's been doing mixed martial arts, not just boxing. So he's, hats off to McGregor stepping up to Mayweather's world to fight him. I would love to see. You ask McGregor or Mayweather to come down and fight McGregor, he wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So hats off to McGregor stepping up there, facing off one of the best boxers who ever lived in his own sport. So, man, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Who's going to win? I would love to see McGregor knock him out.
He's been boxing. I saw some of his Instagram posts, the later ones. He was throwing knees, but his boxing has improved a lot. Yeah, a lot.
That's what he started off with. What was boxing?
Yeah, he was a boxer originally. Then he crossed over to mixed martial arts when he met John Kavanagh. But we can't deny that there is a chasm between where McGregor is in boxing and where Mayweather is in boxing. But the other thing you have to think about is everybody that Mayweather's fought has been a boxer. They've moved like a boxer. Now, you know, when you get a beginner that comes in the gym and they don't move like anybody else because they're kind of awkward and jerky, they'll catch you with shots you're not looking for.
That's unpredictable. That's right.
It's unpredictable.
So, Conor, can you say that Conor got a puncher's chance?
He's always got a puncher's chance. Even in 10-ounce gloves, he can knock Mayweather out. There's no doubt about it. It's hitting him that's going to be the issue.
And last question for all you three. If you were to face a champion now in the UFC, who would you guys face at this moment?
Now, could it be a previous champion or the champion now?
Just now, right now.
I want to fight Stipe.
Without counting the weight class, of course.
Anybody else? Champions you'd like to fight? Tyron Woodley.
I'd like the break. No, actually, Woodley, though he's a champion, he's my boy, so I don't, if we have to fight for the belt, we'll do it. No questions asked. But if I could break somebody's face in the UFC roster, it'd be Bisping for sure.
I would pay to watch that fight.
Man, you know what? Obviously, whoever has that title, that's the guy I want to go against. But, one guy I've always wanted to face off against, he's not a champion now, but it was Chuck Liddell. And he started off in a Kempo background, obviously fought in the same kickboxing promotions that I faced off against. I know he's not a champion now, but he was always somebody I wanted to face off against.
Who do you think?
Obviously, yeah, like you said, the one who has the belt right now is the one who I'd want to fight, and that's Amanda Nunes, and I would love an opportunity to fight her.
Excellent. Thank you. UFC 200, were you there? Were you at UFC 200?
No, it was just a streaming event in South Korea.
You got the T-shirt, though. That's more than I did. Well done.
Yeah.
What's your question?
I have only one question. I'm from South Korea, and you guys, the Jorge Masvidal and Stephen Thompson, you got the loss recently, and you guys are not booked for the fight, right?
No, not booked yet, but hopefully here pretty soon we'll get.
Yeah, how about you both fight each other? Who want to see this? Jorge Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson.
We all want to see that fight. I think that's going to happen. We're looking towards signing that, I think.
How's your think?
Huh?
Each other, how's it think? fighting each other.
What do you think about each other? Technically, what do you think about each other?
Well, he does things that nobody really in the division does. You know, the karate that he brings at the high level that he brings, it's only him that does that. So I would have to get in special sparring partners. I'd have to get guys that could mimic that, and that's something to prepare for.
Masvidal's tough, man. I mean, you saw what he did against Donald Cerrone, man. His Muay Thai striking is very high level. His boxing, he's got very good hands. He also closes the gap very good. His takedown defense is phenomenal. I mean, he's one of the best all-around fighters that I'll probably face if we get this fight happening.
They're so nice to each other, right? As soon as that ink's on that paper, that's going to change. I have a feeling.
I hope to see that fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Next question, please, sir.
You kind of already answered my question earlier. I was just wondering, knowing what you know now about how the second fight went with Woodley, would you do anything differently in that fight? And do you regret the way it went?
Yeah, definitely. Knowing that, you know, he was waiting for me to close that gap, I think, especially with somebody at that level, a little bit more feints would have I think, got him to bite or come at me, be a little bit more aggressive, and be a little bit more aggressive myself. Yeah. You know, something I've always done in the past. That in and out, that in and out movement that I do. I definitely could have used that a little bit more during the fight, just to get him to come at me some, you know, frustrate him a little bit more.
But I feel like that's what he was trying to get you to do too, and that's why you kind of danced around each other for a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the last fight, I normally do a lot of movement, but during the last two fights, I was standing there right in front of him, which is what he wanted, you know, I think, and which is why he caught me. When he closed that gap, he hit me with the right hand, that's why he ended up hitting me with that right hand. But that a little bit more movement, if I face him off again, a little bit more aggressive.
Do you think we'll fight him again?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Of course. Of course. You know, whoever holds that belt, if it's him, if it's Maya, if it's Masvidal, I'm going for that belt, baby.
After the way the first fight went, I think we want to see a third one.
Say that again?
I said after the way the first fight went, I think we want to see that third one.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you for your question. Next question, please, sir.
Sorry, Dan.
Yes.
With all the talk of super fights, I know you once said that you'd be interested in doing a super fight. So my question related to the McGregor-Mayweather situation, are the fighters who are coming up through the ranks a bit concerned that the brand is getting diluted, especially if we consider GSP Bisping, that was a bit of a soap opera. Is this in any way demotivating young fighters coming up when they just see guys getting an easy way in?
I don't think so. No, I think the sport's changing. I think the market's changing around us. The UFC as it was is always going to be, because we've got young up-and-coming talent coming through the divisions and making names for themselves. I mean, we've got some debutants on the show tomorrow night that are going to blow your mind. Seriously. I mean, Asia has got so much to contribute to this sport, and it's not even started yet. So I think that the prospects are always going to continue to come, but now we have another level that you can reach, where you get to that McGregor level, that Ronda Rousey, that almost like these guys on the stage right now. They get to that superstar, that superhero level, where you kind of want to start going, whoa, what if Batman fights Superman? You know what I mean? We want to see these matchups, and we've been having that in boxing for a long time, because that's where the big money is. And there's no doubt that the big money in mixed martial arts are these super fights between the stars of the sport. So I don't think it's a problem at all. It becomes an issue when it starts to affect the rankings, like the Bisping GSP thing, which for me is a fascinating fight. The only issue with that, obviously, is that there are contenders waiting to fight Bisping, all of which have got a damn good shot of taking the belt from him. So that's where the issue is for me. As long as it doesn't really affect the rankings, I have no problem with it. I want to see the super fights.
So who's going to tempt you back in?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. More than anything, it's venues. I would love to fight in New York, because I never fought at Madison Square Garden. And I would love to fight at the Saitama Super Arena, because I was the biggest Pride fan ever. And I'd love to see that arena filled with people wearing my bandanas as I walk out.
So. I follow this guy on social media. This guy is always training. He's always training, man. You could definitely get back out there in the octagon. I tell you,
you know what it's like when it's inside you. You kind of can't get it out. It's like an exorcism. You got to find a way to release it. Thank you for your question. Next one.
Hey, all right. So first of all, welcome to Singapore. Welcome to Asia. My question actually has a lot to do with what goes on before fights. You know, the press conferences and stuff like that. Quite a few months back, the owner of MMA. League that's based here said that what sells in the West doesn't work out here. Like like, you know, DC and John Jones, what they're doing now. It doesn't work here. Here we like, you know, the respectful, good guy, Pacquiao, biggest example. So, like, for my question for like every single one of you, if you knew that you were going to be fighting in the Asian market, trying to sell a fight, would you conduct yourselves differently?
That's a good question. If you were fighting in the Asian market, would you conduct yourself differently? Because it's a different market.
It doesn't matter where I fight. I'm always gonna be myself. You know, if I'm fighting here or Jupiter, I like Thompson. You know, so you won't see nothing fake or like, oh, this guy's a punk or nothing. If I don't like somebody, I'll say, and if I like somebody, I'll be cool with them. You know.
But for me, that, you know, as a fan, that's what I like about, you know, guys like Masvidal and some of these guys fighting the UFC. You get, you know, who they are is who they are. They don't change for anybody, which I think that, you know, and that's what makes the fight sport very exciting, because you're getting these guys being, you know, true to themselves. And you know if somebody's faking it or not, or just doing it just to, you know, talking trash just to, I don't know, become Conor McGregor, you know. And, you know, imagine me going out right now trying to talk a bunch of crap to somebody. People would just be like, Steven, shut up, sit down. You know, we know you're trying, you know. That's who he is, man. I say be true to yourself.
But then again, you guys love Crazy Horse out here, and he was more of an entertainer than anything.
That's also true. You know? Can I just ask one more thing, particularly about the women later? I mean, Pena can answer both.
Yeah, what do you think? Would you change your style at all? You're quite feisty when training camp starts. You like to...
you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, and take it or leave.
Yeah, I like it.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
What do you think about Durandamy's actions refusing to fight Cyborg?
Weak.
Weak. There's your answer. One word. Thank you. Thank you. Next question, please. Muhammad Ali t-shirt.
Thanks. Guys, I just want to say I'm big fans of all y'all, but in particularly Dan Hardy. Man, I love you, dude. I gotta ask, will we ever see that red mohawk back in the octagon?
Yeah, you'll see me walk one more time at least. At least one more time.
Yeah.
I have it within me. It's got to come out one more time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonder Boy, can I just ask, will you ever fight Carlos Condit?
Would I ever fight Carlos Condit? Yeah. I would love to fight Carlos Condit. I would like, you know, anybody, you know, I'm a fighter. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? You know, you say fight Stipe. I'm like, all right, sure, man, let's do it, you know? Boy, that's why you got coaches and stuff out there to make sure that you're making the right decisions. Because as us fighters, we'll fight anybody, you know? So yeah, man, I mean, I would fight anybody in the top 5. And hopefully we'll be getting this guy here pretty soon. So we'll see.
Just one last thing. Juliana, with all due respect, I think you look sexy as hell. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blushing, I think.
Next question, please.
Hi, guys. Good evening. Have a question for Steven.
Okay. Hey, yeah.
There is a guy called Ben Askren who claims he can easily beat you. What do you think of it?
Ben Askren. What do you think of Ben Askren?
Oh, what do I think about it? Ben, I know he's talked a lot of trash about me. But now he doesn't bother me one bit. I mean, yeah, he's a good grappler. That's his thing. I mean, as a fighter, I think he's a good fighter. As a human being, I don't know him well enough really to comment on that. But I've never really thought about him, to be honest with you.
So do you think he will ever fight you?
Say that one more time?
Do you think that he will ever fight you?
Do you think you'll ever fight him?
Do you think I would ever fight Ben Askren?
Yes.
Well, since he's not in the UFC, no.
It's not looking too hot for Ben right now.
Say what?
I said it's not looking too hot for Ben right now.
Yeah, definitely not looking too hot for Ben, so no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes, sir.
Hi, guys. Miss Juliana is really pretty.
Thank you.
Just want to ask for Miss Juliana, after the fight with Valentina last January, how are you after the fight? Any changes for the training for the next fight?
Yeah, at first I was like, you know, when you die, you give it your all. It feels like a death, I'm not going to lie. I was very, very heartbroken. I felt like my world came crashing down. I think the most important thing is you can't get married to your wins and you can't get married to your losses. You know, one day you feel like you're on top of the world and then the next day the world's on top of you. So you have to take your wins and losses in stride and just keep moving forward. As far as what I've changed, I've actually been in physical therapy in order to get back to training, and that's where my focus has been since January, is just trying to get back into the training room and doing things that I normally do. But I had moved to Chicago in December, and going to a city that I've never lived in before and changing my entire camp, my coaches, everything, and getting thrown into that mix before the biggest fight in my entire life, I think was a big change. So I've taken this time from January till now to get to know the city, get to know my routes, get to know everything, so that when I prepare for my fight next time, I'll have everything a lot better tuned. And I think that that's a part of the learning process in mixed martial arts. You know, if it doesn't work, you go back to the drawing board, figure out what went wrong, and try again.
I was heartbroken too after that fight.
I know, trust me, I know. I'm over it.
Just one last question for Mr. Thompson. Sir, I just want to ask, on the first fight with Tyron Woodley, what were you thinking after that very long choke, guillotine choke that he was doing?
The guillotine. Everybody asked me about that. You know, I was literally thinking to myself, I'm not tapping. You know, he hit me with a big right hand, right? And it was like one threat right after the next, hit me again. Next thing I know, I'm literally on top of my head, and he's trying to rip my head off. But I literally was talking to myself when I was in the guillotine, kind of like where I'm talking to you now. I told myself, I was like, all these people came to watch me fight. I'm not tapping. And it's crazy what goes on in your head when you're in situations like that. You know, I was definitely calm. And as soon as I said that, I could feel his arm start to tire out. And that was my chance to get out, you know. So no real big secret, just knowing how to defend against somebody, you know, in a deep guillotine like that. And staying calm helped me survive.
Thank you, guys. Good luck on your next fights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Wonder Boy, what's up, brother?
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm shouting out from Greenville, South Carolina.
Boom!
Yeah.
What? Are you from Greenville, South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
Shut your butt.
Yeah.
That's the most aggressive Wonder Boy's ever been right there.
I hear you, man.
Yeah, man. Question. So what's your best and favorite fight of all time that you've had in the UFC?
I would have to say it was my very first fight in the UFC. It was UFC 143, and it was in 2012. I remember because I was asked to fight for the UFC, and I was going to turn it down because I felt I wasn't ready. You know, I felt like I didn't have the wrestling, didn't have the jiu-jitsu. But my dad looked at me and was like, listen, man, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Go out there and have some fun. So I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. And, you know, I was the very first fight on the card, so it was like nobody in the stands. There was like nobody watching. But for some reason, it was very odd. I wasn't nervous at all stepping out there. And I guess it's because before my first, you know, UFC fight, I fought in other promotions. I was always the main event, you know. But being back in you know, I guess the first fight again, I felt a little bit more relaxed. And I went out there and did my thing and ended up knocking the guy out in the first round. Got fight of the night. And so, yeah, that's the one that I remember the most because that was the one I almost turned down. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't take that fight.
That's awesome, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Compliments on the Woodley fights, man. You were a beast.
Thanks, man. You know what? I got a lot of good praise, even though I didn't win the fight. But, you know, as these warriors up here know, yeah, there's no quitting us, man. We're going to keep going no matter what. Where most people would go out there and tap or give up, we don't do it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. And
no worries, man.
Lastly, when we doing UFC South Carolina?
That's what I'm saying. We need to bring it to Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah,
I got to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, very nice to meet you, brother. I hope I see you after.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please.
Yeah, this question's for all of you guys. So with the recent emergence of Robert Whittaker in the MMA, I'm just wondering, is the UFC planning to come to Australia? Do you guys want to fight in Australia? I understand Perth's legalised cage fighting, so I'm just wondering your thoughts on a potential fight in Australia.
I would love to fight in Australia. I went to UFC Melbourne. I had the most amazing time ever. I loved the country. It was beautiful. I believe the UFC is going back to Australia, and I'm not sure about Perth, but I would love to fight in Australia.
Oh, yeah, man. Never been to Australia before in my life. That would be a really cool opportunity to go out there and meet some of the fans in Australia. So, yeah, I would definitely be down for that.
I don't want to pay the taxes, but I would love to fight if I don't got to pay the taxes.
And just one more question. I came a bit late, so I'm not sure if this has been asked, but Masvidal, what was your take on the fight against Maia? How did you see the decision?
There's two ways I think you could judge the fight, either based on control or damage is how most people base it. So I feel I won, obviously, the damage department. I lost the control. So I just been working on those things, you know, the little things that led him to get to those positions where he's strong at. Just stopping guys before they even get to that position, you know. So it's just going back to the drawing board and getting better.
Yeah, I thought you won, so.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Next question, please, sir.
Yeah, Dan, we love you on TV, and you're a great fighter. We'd like to see you come back. In fact, I think you're a better boxer than McGregor myself. But last fight in New Zealand, Dan Hooker, what did you think of him?
I think he's absolutely spectacular. He's one of those rising prospects that we've just been talking about. A kid that's finding his groove, finding his rhythm, and has got this depth of talent already at such a young age that is only going to grow with experience. I think we all need to be keeping an eye on him. I think he's very, very exciting.
He seems to be the new era, like Wonder Boy or Luke, Rockhold.
Yeah, definitely. These guys that can just do everything, you know, they bring new skills to the table, but they're also very good at the basis of mixed martial arts. Yeah, I think he's a big star. I think you know, as I said, Asia Pacific is on the rise. You know, Bobby Knuckles fighting Yoel Romero soon is going to be a great fight as well. I think there's a lot of talent in this area of the world, and they're just kind of the spearhead of it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next question, please, sir.
Hi. Miss Pena, I've got a very shy wife over here that wanted me to come up, beautiful wife as well, that wanted me to ask you, what do you think the outcome's going to be of the Holly Holm fight, and if there's somebody one of the two that you would want to face potentially, possibly?
That's easy. I think it's going to be a tie. And no, I'm kidding. I got Holly, and I would love to fight Holly Holm. That's the money fight right there. Her one fight that she's most known for is for knocking and dethroning Ronda, and that's the one that was most important, and it will always be the most important for her. So you take Holly away, then you definitely get paid a lot more, and that's what I'm interested in. So I would love to fight Holly.
One more time. Dan Hardy, I actually loved all your fights, and I love to hear that you're coming back. And it's funny that I was going to ask you who you wanted to meet, and then I saw Matt Brown over here for a second, and I thought maybe, holy hell, that might be something that might be interesting for you too. I mean, your thoughts.
Mike Brown?
Matt.
Oh, Matt Brown.
Matt.
Is Matt Brown here? No, that's Mike Brown.
That's Michael Brown.
No.
Mike Brown, what's up?
Hey, Mike Brown will pull my arms off. I've seen this guy in the gym. He's a killer. He's a killer. He could come back. He could come back and cause all kinds of problems in his division.
Well, yeah, but it could be your division too.
We're different sizes, but I wouldn't fight him. I like my face too much. Thank you. Next question.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Hope you are enjoying Singapore so far. Yeah, first question's for Game Bread, the realest fighter in the UFC.
Say it again. Was that a question? Or?
Say that one more time.
The realest fighter in the UFC, Game Bread. The first question is, your last 4 losses have been split decision losses. Do you think it's something to do with your training camps or something you need to change up? Because some of your finishes are pretty savage, man. The Cerrone fight, especially.
Definitely need to always switch something. Even if you're winning, you need to be changing and getting better. So obviously when you take an L, you got to just work harder, put more work in, and fix those situations or whatever led for you to lose or to think that, you know, you lost. So I'm always getting better, man.
Yeah, second fight's for Juliana Pena. So what are your thoughts on the Cyborg and Angela Magana altercation at the Las Vegas retreat? I just want to know your thoughts. Yeah.
You want my thoughts?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, so I was there, and I saw the video on the first one, and someone was in the way, so I was like, oh, she didn't even hit her that hard. And then the other night at dinner, somebody showed me, like, the full video, and she didn't even, like cock her fist back or anything. She just like straight clocked her like that, and the girl's head just like completely flew back. And like, I'm surprised she didn't drop actually, because she hit her so hard. I watched.
She was wobbly.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
wobbly.
watched it like 100 times in replay. I laughed so hard every time. I won the Ultimate Fighter, and that girl got off her season of the Ultimate Fighter and started talking trash about me. I had no idea who she was and never met her a day in my life ever, so it was really strange that she was attacking me. So then I've seen her attack like everybody, and I'm like, I don't like that girl. She's like a mean girl, you know? So karma, what comes around goes around, and it's not okay to cyber bully people. And it's not okay to talk out of pocket, especially to frickin' Chris Cyborg of all people. So, bitch had it coming. I don't know.
You know what? We all remember before social networks, you know, there was a time when if you said something about someone, you expect them to come around the corner and smack you in the face, you know? You kind of have to expect that. If you're going to put a bunch of fighters in a place together,
oh, yeah.
and you're going to be talking, I mean, and she was aggravating a lot of people from what I understand that week. So,
the armchair hero, she's just like...
From what I remember, Chris Weidman tried to step in between, and Cyborg was like, don't touch me. And Chris was like, I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with you. I've never seen Chris so scared in my life.
That's a fight he turned down, I think. That's a fight he turned down. Thank you. Good question. Next, please.
I've been watching and been in MMA for a long time. Masvidal is one of my personal friends, and I've often seen him take losses where I thought that he won. Obviously, I'm biased because that's my boy. But for all four of you, I was wondering, in MMA, is there something different that you want to happen for the judges? Because depending on where you are and what country you're in and who you're fighting, I feel like it has a lot of human mistakes that can be done with the judging system. And as a fighter, I just want other fighters to get the benefits of actually winning the fight as well. I'm sure as Wonder Boy with some of the decisions that have happened in his career. Some of these fighters are so good that if they don't make a mistake, it almost looks like a draw where no one quit, no one got knocked out. But I definitely want it to be a system of where you can tell someone definitely won. So
Yeah,
all four.
The judging is very, very objective depending on your background. Obviously, if you're a jiu-jitsu player, you're going to score it much more like a jiu-jitsu match. If you're a fighter, and this is something that came up in my head a second ago when we had the other question about Jorge. You're a fighter. You come from a street bare-knuckle boxing kind of fighting mentality where you fight until the fight's over. And sometimes when you get into a mixed martial arts fight or sporting environment, you're not in your head, you're not thinking about points. I never thought about points. I never thought about grabbing a takedown at the end of the round to score those points. So we have to start adjusting slightly the scoring system, and I think we are with the more 10-8s and all that kind of stuff. I think we're allowing the judges to make bigger calls on individual rounds. So if someone has a hell of a first round, give them a 10-8, because that can always balance out the next two rounds if they're kind of just edged by the other guy. I think the scoring does need to be adjusted, and I think that's the first step towards it. Any other comments?
I agree with you there, man, 100%. And it's I don't even know if any of the judges ever fought before or been martial artists or not, but I think that could be, they could look into something like that too. Maybe getting some judges out there who've actually fought.
Yeah, we have Ricardo Almeida judges
Right.
sometimes. Shaolin Ribeiro judges. It's good,
Very good
especially now
judges.
we've got guys that have been fighters in mixed martial arts that are retiring. They'll cross over to judging and commentating and a few other things, and that'll raise the level of the sport as well, I think. Yeah, all good?
I definitely think that in the wise words of the great Burt Watson, the judges are only going to make you cry, baby. So your most important thing is to continue to work wherever you're at, on the cage, on the ground. If you're on your back, continue to work so that you did everything possible to solidify your win. On top of that, yeah, definitely a lack of knowledge from the judges, I think, plays a big part. Because like you said, sometimes you go whoop somebody's ass the entire round, they didn't get anything off, and they scored a 10-9. It's like, what are you doing? The guy should clearly get a 10-8.
Yeah. The adjustments are being made, but it will be a process. It's still a very young sport. That's what people forget. I mean, we're heading towards 30 years old now. That's very, very early for a sport this size. So there are going to be some tweaking done, and I think that's what we're doing. Obviously, with the new rules and stuff, the standing opponent with 1 point down, all these adjustments are being made, and I think eventually we'll get to a point where we can really settle into a sport.
It's also the job of the fighter to give absolutely everything that you have. Don't wait do not wait, because there's not going to be a time to wait. You literally have to give it everything that you have from the moment the bell rings, in my opinion.
True that. True that. Next question, please.
Hi, how's it going, guys? My question's for Steven, Jorge, and Dan. So this Saturday is RDA's welterweight debut. And Steven and Jorge, obviously you guys are welterweights, and Dan used to be a welterweight. So my question is, how successful do you think RDA is going to be in the welterweight division?
I think this fight is like the proving grounds. You know, I think he's given up a lot of size. I seen them both, Safadine and Junior, and man, he looks small compared to him. He looks like a 55er fighting a 70. So I think this fight right here is a great test for him. You know, if he could get by the size in this fight, then I think he could do good things.
Great question. RDA's debut, what do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's fighting a guy, he looks like twice his size, to be honest with you, and that's definitely going to play a big part in this fight. You know, I mean, he's a wrestler. Yeah, he's a striker, but he's known mostly for his wrestling. I think he's going to have a very hard time getting anybody down the 170 just because he's a little bit smaller. But that's what makes this sport so exciting, because you never know what's going to happen in these fights. You know, it doesn't matter if they're 155s moving up to 170. As you've seen this guy do, man, he's wrecking people in the 170 division. But yeah, man, definitely, it's definitely going to be a good test for him.
Great question. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you want my answer? I think he's going to do great. I think sometimes we see better performances when people aren't forcing themselves to make a lower weight class. Personally, I think, and it's been discussed already, we need more weight classes. I think if they brought in like a 162 or a 165 weight class, I think that's perfect for RDA. And I think there are a few other guys in welterweight that could step down, and likewise, few guys in lightweight that could step up. But you've got to think, you know, guys like Gunnar Nelson and Rick Story, and even Tarek Safadine, he's not the biggest of welterweights. So if we had a few more weight classes, I think we'll really start to see the best out of these fighters when they fight at their most comfortable weight. Thank you. We've got time for one more question, then we're going to get these fighters out here for the weigh-ins. The guy's got the hat. Okay, we'll keep it quick. One question, then we'll come back to you. But that's it. I'm sorry, sir.
All right, I'm just wondering, what are your predictions for tomorrow night's co-main event? Rafael dos Anjos and Tarek Safadine.
The co-main event's heavyweights.
Oh, sorry.
But it's a good fight, for sure. That's the first fight on the main card. So we're talking RDA, Tarek Safadine. Predictions?
I'm going with Safadine, I think.
Safadine.
Fans win.
Fans win. Good question. Thank you, sir.
And Dan?
Oh, yeah.
What's your prediction?
I don't make predictions. I'm on the mic tomorrow night.
All right.
And Mark Goddard once said, the great referee Mark Goddard, you can't be preoccupied with what you think might happen. So I don't make predictions the week of the fight, because if I think one guy's going to win, I'll be commentating towards that. Got to be staying biased.
Thank you.
One more question, quickly.
Thank you for the last question, Honors. I just wanted to thank all of you for being here, because I really love every single one of you on stage. So it's blowing my mind that you're in Singapore and I'm talking to you guys. For Jorge, I just wanted you to know that game bred is my personal slogan in life now. I'm an entrepreneur, and whenever shit gets rough, I just tell myself, I need to game bred this through. So my question is, what was your motivation behind going to the Singapore Boys Home earlier this week?
Say that one more time.
Jorge went to the Singapore Boys Home earlier this week. So what was your motivation behind it?
You went to the Singapore Boys Home?
Yeah, I went to the Singapore Boys Home, and I've been in a lot of institutions to talk in myself, and those were some of the nicest people ever. You never would have thought those boys were in an institution. The reason why I went is because, man, if I could help any one of them out, I would. You know, I've been in those places many times, and if anybody would have came and talked to me then, it probably would have done something real big, especially if it was something that I wanted to do, you know, like an MMA fighter coming to talk about MMA. So as soon as I had the chance, it was a no-brainer for me to go.
Great answer. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Stay in your seats. Make some noise for these guys. They leave the stage, and we'll be back in a few minutes for the weigh-ins. Thank you.